Welcome to Yoga Biz Studio, a weekly internet show of 10 to 30 minutes in length, hosted by me, Keeley Mitchell, the principal at Z Living, and my colleague.
Carla Wilson, owner of Wilson Media Services.
On our show each week, we share business, legal, and marketing insights for yoga studio owners and independent yoga teachers. For our Yoga Biz Studio webcast, we use Google+, Hangouts on Air. This gives us some flexibility about how we can view how you can view our show. So you are either watching this via our website at yogabizstudio.com, on the Google Plus event page for today's show, or via YouTube. Our Google Plus event page has a Q&A panel on which you can ask questions or make comments. If you're watching via YouTube, click on the yellow graphic to access the page I'm talking about. Carla and I will do our best to follow questions and answer them. So let's move on to today's topic, and where we'll be discussing the usage of images in your marketing. Some of you might not realize that you cannot use images produced by others unless you have permission. We'll also talk about why you want to use images at all in your marketing campaigns and to promote your business. So first, I'd like to explain the images you pull off the internet or from other mediums are protected, so you need to be very careful. They come under the protection of copyright laws. My part of this discussion may sound eerily similar to our music licensing episode because the same concept exists. Copyright laws are a form of protection provided to the authors of original works of authorship. This covers music, film, and in this case, images, pictures, what we'll be discussing about. The U.S. Copyright Act is the main law in the United States that provides protection. However, be aware that it's called the Berne Convention for Protection of Literary and Artistic Works, that it actually extends copyright protection to all the 160 countries that are a party to the convention. So I say this to be careful of, if you pull something from a UK website, most likely it's still protected and you really do need to be careful. So now that I've scared you a little bit about using images, Carla is going to lighten it back up with why images should be used in your marketing campaign. I don't want to discourage anyone from using images, and then we'll circle back around for me to discuss how to avoid a copyright infringement lawsuit. So Carla, I'm handing it over to you.
Thanks, Keeley. I always end up giggling when you're saying that because I know we scare people a little bit, but again, just to support it, we are here to provide you with information. You know, this is something maybe you don't realize you don't know, so we're trying to help you with we're trying to educate you, not scare you, but just so you understand where we're coming from. Yes, as a marketing consultant, you know, some of my tasks each year are to really follow the trends in internet marketing. Earlier this year, my colleague Jeff and I had, similar to this show, we had a hangout on air to specifically discuss using images in your internet marketing for 2014. It's really an important thing. So let's first talk about the examples of where you would want to use images in your marketing, both online and offline. So first, let's talk about the offline possibilities. First thing I can think of that you would want to use images for are maybe flyers that you stick to your bulletin board at your studio, or maybe in a class schedule that you post and people can, some kind of takeaway that you would use at the studio. You typically want to jazz up a flyer, and you want to use something more than just your logo. So I certainly encourage you to use images there. So then let's move on to some places where online you might be using images. I'm certain that you have seen folks using images on their blogs and their websites. It's definitely something that when you use it along with your blog topic, it's really good for search engine results to use an image. Again, any kind of digital media, whether it's images or video or audio, that kind of digital media helps Google like your website and move you up in the search ranking. So using images with your blog post is a really good strategy. So that's another place you might be using images. Along with some, like a text overlay, I guess is what I will say. I'm certain that we've all seen those images that have a quote of text laid over the top that people are posting out on social media. And you can create your very own, I'll give you resources on how to do that. Those are really good for engaging with your audience. You know, they're really good for inspirational quotes, or maybe giving some tips and tricks about your particular area of expertise. We often use images in our email marketing, and you can you also want to make sure that I haven't seen this so much in the yoga and wellness space, but another way to use images in marketing is via in your marketing is via an infographic. And you may have seen this where it's more of like a online poster, for lack of a better description. You know, it'll have statistics about something, and it will have a little graphic on there. Those are called infographics, and there are several places that will help you create those kinds of resources for your marketing. So here's something to think about. Did you realize that posts with images on Facebook garner 53% more likes than just regular posts? So think about that. You know, you're getting almost twice as many people liking something if you post a picture with it. And yeah, wow, let's talk about Instagram here for a moment. It's really taking off this year. You know, there are I've seen many yogis posting asana poses, recipes, and they're really gaining a lot of followers. So in fact, I read just the other day that there are more daily mobile users on Instagram than on Twitter. So, you know, that's definitely, Instagram is another way to promote your business using images. So that's, here are some of the examples that we've had.
Wow, Carla, I have heard all of this, and I've actually noticed with Z Living posts that my post with images definitely gets viewed more. My struggle is always finding like the awesome images that everyone wants to see. And then I know I have to get into Instagram. Like, I have a 13-year-old in my house that's like obsessed with Instagram, and it's telling me I need to get Z Living on Instagram. So you're just reaffirming the advice I'm getting from the 13-year-old that maybe I should be listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know we've all heard that old adage of, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and, it really holds true, even for internet marketing. People are really just more apt to be drawn into what you're posting about if there's a relevant image attached to it. So in addition to the legal aspects of image usage, we'll give you some great resources of where to find images. So first, I'm going to hand it back over to Keeley, and why don't you start off with getting into a few more details about the legal concerns of using images in your marketing.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw some more legal stuff at you, but remember, this is all for your own good. It's education.
Yes.
I know you probably have questions buzzing around in your head about copyrights and now using images and how to protect yourself. So I'm going to try and be a mind reader and answer some of them. But of course, if I don't answer a question of yours, please feel free to submit a question in the Q&A panel, and I'll be happy to answer it. So the first question that I think most people have about this issue is, does the copyright laws apply to all images? And the basic answer is yes, they do. From the time an image is created, it is instantly protected by the copyright laws. So that leads us generally to the second question is, what is exactly copyright infringement? Like, if I'm going to take an image and now you're saying someone's going to sue me, what does that really entail? And infringement is the violation of the rights of the creator or someone who holds the copyright. So sometimes people sell, the creator might sell their rights to somebody else. So it's really the creator or the holder of the rights that are being violated. And examples of infringement are using an image in whole or in part without permission, or using an image beyond the scope you're permitted to do so if you have gotten permission. So pretty much, if we're flipping through, say we're in an online magazine and we see, I don't know, Rodney Yee in like a perfect asana position, and we want to post it on our website, if we do that without permission, like say we take it out of Yoga Journal, we have just violated, copyright infringement. We violated the rights because we did not seek permission. So that's a quick example. So the next question generally comes is, well, why should you be worried? Like, what's going to really happen? So if you are sued for copyright infringement, you need to be concerned with, one, paying the legal fees to defend yourself, court costs that might come about. And that's just the beginning. If you're found guilty of copyright infringement, there might be monetary damages that you need to pay. In extreme circumstances, you may actually face criminal charges as well. So it is something that you need to be aware of and to be careful about. I would also like to add that even if you take an image from someone else, you are still liable for infringement. So what do I mean by that is, all of us, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm sure it happens on Instagram and Pinterest, you see someone else, you're friends with them, they post something that looks really awesome, you like the picture, and now you want to share it too. Well, the fact that you turned around and shared it, you actually are now, if they were violating copyright, you're now violating the copyright too. So it's every person who shares that image can be sued by the creator or the holder of the rights for copyright infringement. So once again, you need to just be very, very careful. So one key question is, how do you avoid being sued? The best thing to do is to ask for permission from the creator or the holder of the rights. And I can hear all of you guys grumbling because in reality, many of us just want to use a photo we found on the internet, and we have no way of tracking down the creator to ask for permission. In these circumstances, I still have advice that will keep you out of a lawsuit. One is use material in the public domain. Images in the public domain are generally those where their copyright is expired or has been forfeited. Some works are just so old and date back centuries that they are not they're considered in the public domain. Like, for example, Shakespeare's plays. You can use that. Shakespeare's not coming after you, and no one owns the rights to Shakespeare's plays. So you're generally good with that. And to keep in mind, very few things are actually in the public domain. And just because if you found it on the internet, it does not mean it's in the public domain. It's on the internet, so it's not open for everyone to just take and use. Another way of protecting yourself is oftentimes I would say give credit. So if you're going to take it from Yoga Journal, a picture, or you're going to take it from someone else's website, just give a credit, like saying where you took it from. Generally that cuts down on it as well. And then my last recommendation is to check out Creative Commons. Creative Commons is a nonprofit organization that makes available different copyrighted works for use. If you visit creativecommons.org, you can receive free legal tools about the sharing of copyrighted materials, as well as purchase different copyright licenses through the organization. And licenses permit you to use the copyrighted material legally. So I think that's it. I think I've overloaded enough with the legal to everyone. To be careful, but be aware that there are steps that you can take to protect yourself and to limit your liability when using someone else's images.
Right, exactly. Yeah, time for you. You need a drink. You need a drink of water there, ma'am. You were talking for a couple
I know. Well, while you talk, I actually am going to get some water. So.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. So to add on to what Keeley was talking about with Creative Commons, here's another tip for you. I really very often will do an image search on Google, images.google.com, and if you choose, you can do what's called an advanced search, and then choose the option. Let me see the name here. Labeled for reuse with modification. That will help you locate Creative Commons items, or items that you will have permission to use and you will be able to use in your marketing and in your posts. So know that option is available to you. So as we promised earlier, I want to make sure that you are aware of some resources that you can find free images, and also that will help you edit the images. Luckily, when we were planning for this episode, I discovered a great post on the blog called Buffer, and their latest article, not kidding, is a list of over 53 photo sources. I know. So, you really will have no excuse after watching this episode to check out all of the photo sites available to you. There are websites called things like Free Range Stock or Image Free or Pixabay, and again, there's more than 50 on there for you to take a look at. So, and honestly, I can't wait until after the show so I can go and check this out, because I'm constantly looking for images for my blog posts, for my clients' blog posts, and I'm sure that this will be a great source to use for marketing. The other thing I wanted to give you direction on is how you can create those quote images I was talking about earlier. You take a photo and then you overlay a quote over the top of it. I use a tool, it's a free tool called PicMonkey, PicMonkey.com. That will allow you to upload a photo. Maybe it's a photo you took of, I don't know, a tree outside, and then you're going to overlay some text on the top of it. PicMonkey will allow you to do that for free. And then there's also another tool I recently discovered called Canva, C-A-N-V-A, and they're at canva.com. Again, great for creating images with text overlays. It also helps you to create those infographics that I was mentioning earlier.
All right, thanks, Carla. Yeah, well, Carla and I are we were very excited to find like these 53 free sites that we could go to and get free images. That is something that we all struggle with. So this week's takeaway segment is to explore the 53 photo sources we mentioned in this episode. We will have a link to where you can find these sources on our website after today's episode. So I really encourage you to take a look and be very conscious about the material you're using. Believe it or not, in the huge world of internet, people can still track whether their material is being used without their permission. I kind of look at it as when I lived in New York City, everyone's like, New York is so big, but you would run into people that you knew on the streets. I've actually ran into people that I went to high school with, and I didn't go to high school in New York City, but you would run in, and it's like this city of millions of people, but you're still running into people you know. So I kind of think of that as like the internet.
Yes.
Like, it's really huge, but you can run into someone who would clearly see you took their image. So just be really, really careful about that, and use the free sources that you can use the photos so you can avoid that.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks,
All right.
Keeley. So on our next episode, I wanted to make everybody aware that we'll be discussing franchising, or should I say Keeley will be discussing franchising, and I will be asking questions, because franchising is not an area of expertise for me. But I'm certain that Keeley and I are not the only two yogis on earth who have gotten the email with the subject lines that read, "Open a studio using our proven methods." So what we want to do is give you information about franchises, how to look, how to determine if franchising is right for you, or whether you should create your own yoga studio, maybe your own franchise. So our next episode will actually be on Thursday, June 12th, which is 2 weeks from today. And so we will see you here on Thursday, June 12th at 2 p.m. In the meantime, if you have any show ideas or questions for us, feel free to email us at yogabizstudio@gmail.com or visit our website at yogabizstudio.com. You can also find our business pages on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. You just have to search Yoga Biz Studio.
Yeah. And after this talk, I'm wondering now if we should show up on Instagram. But
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thanks, Carla. And thank you to our audience for joining us today. Our Yoga Biz Studio show is brought to you weekly by me, Keeley Mitchell of Z Living, and Carla Wilson of Wilson Media Services. So until 2 weeks from today, namaste.
Namaste, everyone.